guys, Nicky at Night here for another YouTube video about Summoner's War. I'm also going to try to branch out into different things very shortly, but I'm also going to continue doing Summoner's War, but I do have a little bit less new content to show about Summoner's War since progress has become a little bit more tough to make. I also wanted to show you guys that since the last video I have gotten, or I forgot to show it in the last video, I haven't gotten 50 pieces in the last video, but I'm up to halfway on my Ifrit summoning pieces. I'm really good with any Ifrit I get. Tessa is the one I've got my eye on, but either Theo or Amir will both be okay as well. So, yeah, what I want to talk about in this video is making a good Dragons team. So, a Dragons team is what has troubled me in the past over and over and over and over, regardless of how many times I've tried. So even this Dragons team is not perfect, or is it anywhere near to perfect, but it is about a 90% success rate. So I'm going to break it down into components. VERDEHILE is one of these components, no matter what. My roommate doesn't listen to me about that, but VERDEHILE is a absolutely necessity. Yeah. An absolute necessity. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. That's the combo. VERDEHILE is an absolute necessity for Dragons B10. If you don't have him, there's no excuse. Go fuse him. And he's just that good that he needs to be built. Like, mine isn't that good. 100 crit rate and a bunch of speed is all he needs, and he needs to survive, so a little bit of that HP and defense. That's all he needs for Dragons. So the reason he's so good is because both of his skills are 2 hits. So they critical hits increase the attack bars of allies by 20%. This is good because both of his hits are 20%, and it's like a Bernard on every single attack that he gets. Eventually I'm looking to make my Swift VERDEHILE faster, and I also have a Violent VERDEHILE, which is kind of slow, but he's on Violent, so I've got his crit rate kind of low, but I need that one more power up on this room, and he needs to be 6-starred. And then he might replace this VERDEHILE here. But VERDEHILE is one essential component in your Dragons team. Second, the second most important thing is a cleanser. As you guys know, Nicky is the reason I have this account, so of course I'm going to use Nicky as my cleanser. Your cleanser needs to be very fast, and as soon as you can afford the Violent runes, put them on Violent. Lulu is another early game healer. Veramos is a popular healer, even still. But the main point is you need a cleanser that can out-cleanse the Dragon's debuffs, because the amount of debuffs you have on your team will make the Dragon deal a ton more damage. Side note, before the Dragon's damage goes up a lot once he gets lower than 30%, so it's important to note that he does about 13k on neutral elements, so those being fire, dark, and light. Those are the 3 neutral elements. He does about 13 to 15k whenever everybody has 1 debuff in this state when he has less than 30% health. So you want to ideally keep all of your monsters either full healed to 13 to 15k, above 13 to 15k, or have monsters that just have a ton of health in general. I heal mine all the way because Nicky's skill 2 heals for about 16k. So That's the real point here, is that you need to keep them healed. So for your cleansers, optimally, when the dragon attacks, you're going to have no more than 1 debuff on you. That's when I lose, is whenever I have more than 1 debuff. As long as you keep those debuffs away, you're okay. So the next component is a LOREN. If you don't have a LOREN, go get a LOREN. Like I said before, LOREN is like amazing. She's not hard to build, like, at all. Her skill 2 strips. Use LOREN. The main reason you're going to be using LOREN is to get past, number 1, the mid-boss, because the mid-boss is pretty tanky and he needs a defense break and some attack bar reduction, or else your team's going to die. And the second reason is to strip the dragon and attack decrease, because this dragon gets immunity. Now you're going to want to, if you're not targeting the crystals, which I am not, you're going to want to keep the dragon stripped at all times, so that you can reduce his attack gauge and have time to cleanse those crystal effects off of you, and so that it desynchronizes his combo with the crystals, which ends up making you take a lot more damage. So, VERDEHILE and LOREN are absolute necessities. Spectra can be used, but I prefer LOREN because she always hits that attack gauge reduction as long as you have the accuracy, versus Spectra that has like a, what is it, a 70% chance? I'm not even sure. I haven't used Spectra in so long. Next, you're going to want to include your damage dealer. It just happens that my damage dealer is water and is Shihao. That's okay. If he doesn't have a strip, that's also okay. But any damage dealer with a strip is preferred, like Water Nine-Tailed Fox. That is a great unit for DB10. I would highly recommend it. It cleanses you on skill 3, and it strips on skill 3. It's like perfect. It's meant for DB10. And lastly, I choose another damage dealer, which is Crow, particularly because I have 1 debuff, 2, 3 debuffs, and Crow's skill 3 will do about, I'm not really sure how much damage it'll do to the dragon, but I'm just going to auto this to show you guys how my team works and how it goes through. So, my Nikki always moves first, and I know it's bad that VERDEHILE moves second, but it still works. VERDEHILE, ideally, in your team speed tuning, should either move first or last. For dragons, it is very important that VERDEHILE moves last so that you maximize your number of turns. Sorry guys, I forgot to make the mid-boss the target. So, it's very important, though, that VERDEHILE is last so he maximizes your number of turns. Since my team is pretty alright anyway, it is okay that VERDEHILE does not move last. And for PvP purposes, if you build a VERDEHILE for PvP, which a lot of people do, VERDEHILE needs to be moving first. He's basically your Bernard. But no matter what you do, you always have to have that 100% crit rate on him, or else. You just gotta have it. Otherwise, he's gonna do, like, nothing for your team because his crits are gonna be on and off. So I would even prioritize his crit rate over speed tuning, because without crit rate, he's gonna do absolutely nothing. So as you can see here, the dragon's starting to rack up some damage because my LOREN skill isn't getting cycled enough to do the cooldown, but the dragon is almost dead, so that's okay. The dragon's dead. As you can see, my team made pretty short work of dragons for my point in the game, 1:30. Not too bad. Like I said, the key players to this are LOREN and VERDEHILE. Sorry, I got those mixed up. VERDEHILE and LOREN, because they will keep the dragon under control and out of tune with its crystals, and will keep making your team get more and more turns on the dragon and keep those debuffs on while you're attacking. Because as soon as the dragon gets a move, your healers are going to go to heal immediately and not going to be very useful in doing damage. Another secondary is the healer slash cleanser. If you have a healer slash cleanser, use it. If not, it's perfectly fine to substitute one of these damage out for a healer, and then substitute out your cleanser slot for a cleanser like Lulu or Veramos if your Veramos is fast enough. However, if you have a healer cleanser combo, it's very good for dragons. But yeah, that's about all I have to say about dragons. So I'll see you guys in the next video.